as they're quivering.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. We're live.
All right. Oh, okay. Cool.
Quiver,
Oh,
camera,
hey.
shit. Yes.
Happy
Dogs out of
hour
control. Let's
with,
drink.
with Rook's Dogs shaking at his ire. Welcome in to Hit Points Not Required Happy Hour, where we talk nonsense for a little while and then eventually perhaps get around to talking something TTRPG related. But as a reminder, if you want to do something, get around to doing something eventually that's TTRPG related, our sponsor, Pangea Gaming, has all of the supplies that you need to make a world of difference in that eventually getting around to whatever it is that you are going to TTRPG, whether that require books, like D&D books or Pathfinder books, or if it requires dice, or if it requires paints. They have magic, amazing, multicolored paints that will make all of your things ethereal, like the dragon that Rook painted and posted on the creature, whatever it was. That Rook,
I didn't paint it. Aries Starfire painted it. It was not me.
that Rook's household painted, and he took a picture of and put on our Discord. You should go over there right now and check it out.
I did, however, prime a fuckload of minis over the last week. And
How many
by
is
that,
that?
I mean she primed a fuckload of minis. I did not. I was working.
How many minis in a fuckload?
A fuckload. There are, well, let me tell you. There
Is that a
are
metric fuckload or an imperial?
exactly 18 minis and about a 4x2, so 8 square feet of terrain. That's what got primed over the last week.
So you heard it here: 8 square feet of terrain, so it's imperial, and 17 minis make a fuck ton or fuckload or fuckload.
Yes.
Just be clear, motherfucker.
Oh, Sam.
Oh, goodness.
So how y'all doing?
I am freaking tired, man. I had quite a day today, but I did learn a new skill today.
Oh,
Pray tell.
tell us all about it.
I bent electrical conduit, you know, the metal shit that goes between metal boxes on commercial buildings. I bent electrical conduit.
Yeah, say that after 7 or 8 Roman codes.
Yeah. Well,
I think you just did.
We're sadly not there yet because I only got back in the house 40 minutes ago. So, but because I had no opportunity to pregame, I have Mike's Harder Lemonade with rum spiking that Mike's Harder Lemonade. So
Interesting.
we will catch up quick. Now,
dial it up.
but yeah, so I learned to bend electrical conduit today. And when I walked into Lowe's this morning, like I do 2 to 4 mornings a week, the kid looked at me and he said, "Can I ask you a question?" The kid in the... I don't know if y'all are aware, but ordering online and picking up in store saves so much time if you're a contractor. Now, you can't do that with lumber because when you go to a big box store like Home Depot or Lowe's, 80% of the lumber sucks whole ass. So you have to fish through it to find the stuff that's straight. But that being said, everything else, order that shit online, pick it up in store, save yourself a fuckload of time. About 17 minis and 8 square feet of terrain worth of time is what you save.
Would have been interesting if, like, a couple years back, someone had mentioned that to you. That
yeah,
that
fuck
was,
you, man. And so, anyway, this kid, you know, he's just out of high school. He's probably 19, 20 years old, right? He says, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What is it that you do?" And I just fucking laughed, right? And I started laughing. He goes, "I don't mean to be rude, but like 80% of the contractors that come in here, they get the same shit. every single day. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And he goes, you know, you do not. And I know you can't be a homeowner. You have to be a contractor. You can't be a homeowner. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I said, well, to answer your question, what do? Whatever it takes to keep drinking. That was my answer to him. So I felt like that was a great Monday answer.
Or a Tuesday answer, or a Wednesday answer.
He was just like, I don't understand. Like, one day you're getting electric. Today I was getting electrical shit, right? He's like, one day you're getting electrical shit, then the next day you're getting this big 4-inch pipe and all this fucking plumbing shit, and next day it's wood glue and lumber and whatever else. I'm like, yeah, I know.
I think the other appropriate answer might have been whatever it is you need me to do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what do you need? What do you need? You need me to rewire your house? I'll do it. You need me to plumb your shit? I'll do it. Oh man, plumbing sucks. Plumbing sucks, man. Changing toilets is the worst job ever in the world. It sucks.
It sounds awesome.
I mean, I can believe that. I mean, I have plunged a toilet before and not enjoyed it, so I can only imagine what it's like when you have to.
So a toilet is very awkward and very heavy, right? To move. Never mind the mess, right? You can wash yourself of the mess. Never mind the mess. It's very awkward, very heavy to move. But it conveniently comes with that pristine wax ring seal that you have to sit perfectly on the ground in order for that shit to seal so that your sangria doesn't spill out onto the floor, right? And I mean, it is a fucking art to place a toilet and not break that wax ring seal. And that is why you should always pay a licensed plumber to do that shit, because that's the best $120 extra you will ever fucking spend.
I have a question.
I probably don't know the answer.
Oh, I feel you do know the answer to this question. Is our next Rook Cooks episode going to feature making sangria in a
sangria, not sangria, sangoria.
Yeah, that's such an unfortunate name, but I guess that's where we are.
I would say there's a distinct possibility that might happen.
You just throw it in the toilet bowl.
Just throw it in the bowl. How bad can it go?
I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say that along the way in our House of Ill Repute adventures, there will also be opportunities to concoct some cocktail recipes inspired by the show.
Fair.
There were several I was thinking about today, but I won't say anything until we get to that point.
Yeah, maybe. The spoiler alert for everyone: the current plan is to have a bye week before the finale. So we're going to air the first 8 week in between, and then have the finale. That week in between sounds like a great place to experiment with some recipes that we learned or developed.
Food and drink.
I know Clouds in particular is super excited for the next Rook Cooks episode.
I mean, who isn't on the edge of their toilet bowl?
Oh, God.
You could have just said the edge of the seat and implied.
I mean, I'm not sure our audience would have actually figured that out.
Rude. So rude.
At this point in the happy hour.
It is happy hour. We got to spell things out real clearly.
Oh. But anyway, I had a extremely long day, but I learned a new skill today. And the person I was doing that skill for was like, "Where'd you learn to do this?" And I was like, "YouTube, an hour ago."
I mean, that shows that you're old, because if you were a young whippersnapper, it would have been TikTok.
Oh, I tell you what, if you're a TikToker, you should find this guy Gator. I have no idea what his TikTok is because I don't even use TikTok. But this guy Gator, he gives lots of contractory, home improvement-y tips, and he's the best guy ever.
Noted.
People who use TikTok who are younger than us, go check it out.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Some old guy named Gator that throws
Contractor
shit.
content. Yeah.
I was about to say, how old is Gator, and how sure are you that there is a TikTok?
Oh, well, I mean, I have to watch about 50 TikToks a day, all at the least opportune time for me to watch them in the day ever, right? Like, I have gotten up, I have started my day, and I'm in the middle of working. And then Aries Starfire gets up and walks out and makes her coffee and is like, you need to watch this. 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 I'm like, fuck. You need to watch this. You need to watch this. And if I'm not in the room, ding, 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 ding.
This has been a glimpse into the morning.
Oh, fuck. And it's like, it's the worst because I'm trying to do something and I'm just like, all right, how many more do I have to watch? Oh, I saved this one for you. I saved this one because I don't have TikTok. Don't use it. Boy, I wish I did. I wish you could just send them to me and keep them in a queue. Maybe that's a thing I should do.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they can be shared, right? You can just share them.
You would think so, but you can't watch them if they're shared on your phone and you do not have TikTok. You must do it from a browser, not a mobile browser.
Yeah, I mean...
Or you could just be better than me and fucking create a TikTok account.
But, I mean... I don't know about better, less stubborn. I think that would be the word. I'm not doing it because I don't wanna.
I am aware that, you have to actually have a TikTok account to watch them if you're trying to watch them on your phone, because some percentage of those TikToks that Rook is forced to watch, Rook then sends to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thereby creating the same predicament for me.
Yeah, tiny percentage.
A small percentage, to be fair.
You have no idea how small a percentage it actually is. You may think it's a lot. You have no idea how many it actually is.
It is things and situations like this that have me liberally using the do not disturb function on my phone. So those TikToks and messages hit a brick wall. And I'm like, nope, I'm working now. When I'm done working, I will come out of do not disturb and accept your messages.
I try not to keep very many apps on my phone, and I'll tell you why. It's because I carry a lot of client information on my phone, and I don't subscribe to this so-and-so is the devil, so-and-so is not the devil, or anything like that. However, the smaller number of apps that I can keep, the better I feel that is for not... So the opportunity for other people that have trusted me with their email and or name, email, and phone number. I just try to keep that as private as possible.
Very difficult to have like a thorough and clear understanding of how every app on your phone is accessing and using data. So like, the easier route is just to have the fewest apps possible.
Or you have a TikTok phone. That's what you should do. Aries
Separate,
Starfire.
like burner phone kind of phone.
Exactly. Exclusively for ticking and talking. That is all this device is for.
The very first time you get a spam call, you throw that burner, you break that burner phone with a hammer and throw it in the trash, and then go to Walmart and buy another one.
Well, no. First thing you do is you go to Lowe's, where you have ordered a hammer, pickup. You get it there, and you smash the phone right in front of you. You return the hammer
and continue to mystify the employees there.
You may find this hard to believe, but I own several hammers.
Oh,
yeah,
do you?
but you don't want the hammer that was used in
You don't want to. You don't want to be an
Oh,
identifiable hammer.
I
It's like a
see.
burner hammer.
Oh, you need a burner hammer to destroy the burner phone. I understand now.
3D print a hammer.
Oh, now I need to go buy a 3D printer that doesn't have a serial number.
Oh God, this is so
What
elaborate.
the fuck are we even talking
I
about?
don't know.
Well, this is the nonsense that our viewers have come to
Mhm.
appreciate
Mhm.
and
Sure,
fast
I'm sure
forward
they
through.
do.
Are they still talking about that burner hammer shit? Okay.
Mhm.
Oh God.
So, at this point in the program, we should really talk about who gets to drink on the house.
Mhm.
And I think there were a decent number of people that have watched our premiere of The House.
Yes.
And therefore, if you are one of the 750 people that has watched the House episode 1, you drink on the house. Bum bum bum.
Drink on the house.
Cheers to you.
I'm not one of those people, but I'll drink anyway.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
Mm-mm.
You just have to pay for your drink then.
Episode
tip your
1, never seen it.
Identify yourself.
Mhm.
You got a flashlight. I was tempted to have a flashlight.
Don't you know who I am?
Don't you know who I am? No, because I'm an old fucking crusty bastard.
I know,
Okay,
that
all right
is
then.
honestly the best. Like, don't you know who I am? And no one does.
No, bro, that was a century ago. Great. Don't you know who I was, motherfucker?
What are they teaching in the schools these days?
Didn't you learn your past?
Oh God.
But anyway, moving on from the nonsense, moving on from drinking on the house because of the house, I played in a pickup one shot a couple weeks ago on Start Playing Games, SPG. And as always, good experience. I love finding stuff there. SPG, that one's on the house. Next one you're gonna have to pay for, just so you know. Call us.
I feel like you've said that before.
I have said that about systems. I don't think Start.
Can we
I don't
consult
think-
the archives?
Please, yes. Archivist, please go through and check every happy hour for a previous reference. Anyway, it was a fun one shot. There were 4 people running through in this mystery scenario. You just landed a boat and you're going to have to explore the mystery of this house. Blah 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 blah. We played it. We had a good time. We ran a little over, as most one shots that I sign up for tend to do, for some
I can't imagine
reason.
why.
No idea why. Doesn't really make any sense. But everybody had a good time. But we ran over, and the DM at the end of that apologized. Look, it ran a little longer than I expected. I've been doing a few of these to get my ratings and reviews up on the site and all of that in order to book some campaigns and stuff like that. But it's interesting. You never know. The last group that we ran through, or that they took through this adventure, had finished in half of the allotted time. And I was like, oh, maybe they didn't like to role play a lot or whatever. It's like, well, part of it was it was a mystery and investigation thing, and one person brought a mastermind rogue with specialization with what is that called? When you
Expertise.
Expertise. Thank you, sir. With expertise in investigation, and this other one brought this with some, all this stuff. And so they came in, they made a few rolls, they figured everything out, and they were done. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And so I posed to you when you're presented with a scenario, you're playing a one shot, a short adventure, you're presented with a scenario. Do you find it is more fun, less fun? Are there pros? Are there cons to creating? Okay, in this case, this with these parameters, this is the mechanically best thing to do, or the thing that goes right along with it that is going to be the hero of this story, or just random person. Here was the random thing that I created and rolled up, and it not necessarily having to do with this situation. And we'll see how it goes.
Neither of those things.
Yeah,
is my answer.
I feel like most of the time I'm playing a one shot, I'm like, either here's some real cool shit I want to try out within the scope of what I can do in this one shot, or what's the dumbest shit that I can put together and come up with and come in and just troll the shit out of these people. What can I do?
Fair.
And it kind of depends on like what
but
that kind of depends on what the Discord looks like, right? Where we're setting up this one shot, you know? If these people are all serious, what is your race and class? I will be bringing the Mastermind Rogue Halfling so that I can reroll all ones. I'll be like, all right, I'm also going to bring a Halfling who has the chef feat and just likes to cook shit. Oh, we're supposed to adventure? I thought I was just going to be cooking pastries all day long.
Fair. We know Rook likes to troll whenever possible. That is there.
In a one shot, to be fair, like a campaign is not the same really, but if we're talking about one shots or, you know, short adventures, even like, you know, 2 or 3 sessions, something like that, that's very different than planning for a campaign. But in general, and I am more likely to lean in the like random character direction for a one shot, or like Rook said, something that I want to try out for some reason, you know, that's not necessarily relevant to whatever this game is, but something I haven't played before that like I don't know if I'm gonna like it, so I don't want to like make it for a campaign and stick myself with something I don't like, but I want to try it out, see how it feels in gameplay. So a lot of times I'll try to come up with something I haven't played before. But in general, for campaigns or one shots, I generally like to create a new character for a game with the game in mind, but not for mechanical reasons, for narrative reasons. I generally like to have a character that feels, to me at least, like they are a person that exists in that world that the game is going to be
They should have been
in.
part of this story.
Yeah, like it makes sense that they live there and that they are, you would be involved in the situation that is happening. There's some reason that they're there that makes sense. Because to me, like, not only does it help me like I just enjoy that more. I like the collaborative aspect of the game. I like feeling like I'm collaborating with the DM and the world and everything, as well as with the party, in the character being part of it. But I also feel like it just has a lot of, for me, it feels like there's a lot of RP opportunities when, you know, I have ideas about who my character is in this world and how they relate to whatever the hell is happening, rather than them being kind of anachronistic and just kind of doing their own thing. I like for them to be more like sort of connected. But yeah, definitely not mechanically, unless, I mean, sometimes those things are related though. Like if you're doing something that's sort of like, you know, you're going to be investigating a mystery, like it is not, like it kind of makes sense to have a character who would do something like that. Like, why are they even there? Like, you know, it makes sense to have a character who, you know, has skills that are relevant to the task at hand. That said, I definitely would never go so all in where like the character was completely optimized to like breeze through it.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
fun to me.
I feel like that just absolutely sucks the fun out of it for
Yeah.
every other person in the adventure.
For
right?
sure,
Like,
for sure.
I don't ever want to have a character that can do everything or can solo the mission. Like
Mhm.
if you can solo the mission, you're a piece of shit.
To
Or
be
the mission
fair,
is a piece of shit. One or the other.
That's a factor.
to be fair, the situation I presented was, far ends of the spectrum, very
Yes.
aberration in a deliberate sense. Yeah, and in this case, I still think even if you brought the mastermind rogue and you had all the mechanical stuff, to be fair, in this instance, I had a bard there that did have a pretty good investigation
Mhm.
score, but
Fucking piece of shit.
I mean, some folks might characterize them as a fucking piece of shit. It's fair and fair analysis. However, me as a player bringing this character there, it was not looking to make any roles ever, right? I'm just literally putting myself in the least opportune positions for mechanical stuff and just like stopping people in the hall to have random conversations, as a role player, as a thing. What are we doing here? All right, well, let's talk. Oh, what's your history? Where are you from? What brings you out to this haunted mansion in the middle of a stormy night? That sort of stuff. And I think the people in that other one shot that was referenced could have taken the time to role play and done some stuff and did not necessarily, but they clearly constructed characters based on the concept, and how much you lean into that or don't lean into that is up to you while you're playing the game. But I think the interesting point is, what are the pros and cons? You obviously just gave a pro of the more you're invested in the world, the more you've thought about what is this world like, where do I fit in, and all that. The easier some of the role play is, and the easier it is to do some of those other things that are out there that we enjoy doing. But not saying, hey, I'm bringing the character that seems most likely to be successful in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that idea of not being able to solo the mission is super important to me, especially, like I said, one of my absolute favorite things about D&D and TTRPGs in general is the collaborative aspect of it. You're working with a team, and you should be working with the team. You should need to work with the team. And I like to always have characters that are very good at something, because otherwise, why are they in this story? They probably should have something that they're good at. But also bad at something, like at least one thing. Like they should have some like pretty clear strengths and weaknesses. So they have to work with other people to sort of balance. They can all balance each other out. That's how a party ideally should work. And that doesn't have to be a mechanical thing. I mean, sometimes that happens personality wise, or the way you do the role play, that people take on different roles that kind of balance each other out and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think it is important to not try to be the main character, not be someone who like can handle everything by themselves, because that's just not the point of this kind of game. It's just not what it's for.
Yeah, it just between that and if we want to reference our last short adventure, the prison one,
The
Hook. There was definitely different thoughts in character creation. Hey, we're going to be in prison. I'm gonna. Two different people came to the conclusion, hey, it would be good to have the grappler feat in case of, because now, or we could have, and I don't know everybody's character sheets there, but unarmed fighting. Do you do all these things that would seem like they would be useful in a prison setting, or do you just go, no, here was the character and they happen to be in prison, and we're gonna
to be
roll.
fair, most people did not know in advance that they were going to have all their equipment taken away when they made those choices. But
I would think that it would be a logical guess that if you're going to be in prison,
but I feel like in reality, many people did not expect it. That's not how it happened.
Which is, well, which is fair, but there was also the thought of doing things that would be useful, in those circumstances, right? I don't think it affected gameplay significantly, but it's interesting. Hey, the different levels of the different levels of immersion in there. Well, okay, I'm going to immerse myself in this lore, in what we've been given and told, and make as mechanically sound a character as I can to be in there. I'm going to immerse myself in this concept of this story and be random dude who was, or dudette who was put into prison, for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I think the way I approached creating a character for that game again was sort of thinking about like who is this person in this world and that sort of thing, but prior to being in prison. I mostly thought about who was she before she got arrested, why did she get arrested, why was she in prison, that sort of thing, and gave very little thought to actually her experience in prison. And anything that came up, like things she was doing in her cell, or even the way she had her cell decorated, or all that stuff was just on the fly, like was not stuff I even really thought about in advance. I only really planned her character as who she was before. So it kind of, I think, split that difference of like, she's a character who is in this world, who has like a history and that sort of thing, but she is certainly not optimized for being a character that I'm playing in prison. She definitely wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say a lot of the same. Now, Shine as a character and as a background and backstory, dealing with thugs and dealing with that sort of life, life in and out of prison, maybe not all that much different for Shine, the way he grew up. But when I read that, my expectation was, here's the life story, here's what led up to that, and then we're going to be stripped of all of our stuff. You're not going to have your stuff and your gear and your magic items in prison. And so it's like, what does this character look like without all that stuff? How would the stuff that they normally do and want to do translate? And the stuff with the rat and all of that, I think, was that mental transition. What do I do? What does character X do in a prison setting without access to the stuff they would normally have? And I think that's an interesting thought and way to look at it. But I think there are pros and cons to doing it both ways, to trying to do something that is perfectly suited to the situation you're in, and then just happens to have been randomly thrown into that situation. I don't think there is a right or wrong, or good or bad, or better or worse.
It's in some part personal preference, but also something that can change from game to game. Sometimes you want to already have an idea that you want to drop in somewhere. Sometimes you want to create something new. I have so many freaking characters in my D&D Beyond. Like that's the thing that I feel like is frustrating to me, because I like creating characters just for fun. And I'll have all these different character ideas that I love, and I'm like, oh my god, this character would be so much fun to play. They have all these different like aspects and like these like mechanics, but that also have like a narrative element to like why they do it and how they do it. That would be really cool. And then as soon as I'm like, oh, here's a new game for me to join, am I going to pull one of those character ideas that I love? Absolutely not. I'm going to make a new one. Never, ever will I do that. And I have so many character concepts that I have never played for this reason. And this is just my curse. I feel compelled to always make a new character.
I've done a couple things. I mean, especially for like, I do a fair amount of pickup one shots. It's nice to meet new people and get new experiences and talk to stuff. And not always going to sit there and create a new character. There are plenty of plug and play characters in there. But I've also gone, hey, we're going to start a campaign, or we're going to start an adventure, and it would be interesting to take portions of this character and portions of that character and sort of meld them together and create new characters. And it becomes it's an interesting the creating new characters from that score and playing some of your existing stuff in new characters is interesting from a couple of different points. And like I said, melding different character personalities that are interesting to see who you come up with. Taking the same character and running them in a different situation and seeing how they develop differently. Because I think one of the big things, and I know I've talked about it before on this channel, is not going into a campaign with an end goal for the character in mind, and letting the character develop, letting the party influence your character, letting the environment influence your character. And when you run the same character through two different groups and situations and all of that, they have different arcs, different things happen, and they develop differently. And it's really cool to look at them and who those different individuals end up being at the end of the day.
Yeah. I feel like that is difficult for me personally, because once I have had a character run through like an adventure and have, respond to things and sort of develop through that, it's very hard for me to then think about that character in any other way. Like that becomes like canonically who that character is. And it's, I don't know that I personally could do it just because of the way that I internalize like the stories of my characters. It would be really hard for me to run the same character through another adventure. But yeah,
I agree with that statement 100%. Like I can't do it. I build a character for this place and my mindset is there. It's really hard for me to put them somewhere else.
For sure.
That sounds like a good challenge for you. To have to do it, just have to take that character, run it through this, and then run it through something else, and force you to do that and see how it works out for you. It may kill you, but if it doesn't, it'll make you stronger.
Make a place cleaner because waste management is all.
Gosh.
But it is really interesting, the environmental effects on there. Take a character that you were like, oh, I'm going to create this character and I'm going to play it in this situation, this scenario, because that's perfect for it, and then move it into another scenario that it wasn't designed for, and see what happens. See how the environmental impact on there can be interesting.
I should do this for one of our one shots at some point or something like that. I have a character that I have wanted to play for a while that was not a character that I played. It was an NPC in my homebrew campaign that I ran. So I created this NPC and I like played them in, as an NPC, in the game because I was the DM. But like it just was a very like beloved NPC, and like I really liked the character and stuff. And I've always been kind of like, I should run that as a PC in some game. I should just play that character sometime.
Yeah,
I really should. That would be fun.
And in some environment that it obviously wasn't created.
Of course, would have to be a different environment. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe more radically different. Than
I mean, yeah, he was like a bartender in a tavern, so it was like you'd have to be in like some totally different. He was not an adventurer,
in a dry town.
But yeah, it just it's interesting how characters get in your head, and once they're in your head, it's hard to change.
It is. It definitely isn't easy. And I've been playing this sort of game and this style of thing for more years than a lot of the people have been alive that are watching this stream. And I'll say, when I was in my late teens, playing this game, much harder for me to sit there and visualize a character that I had thought of in a certain way. Completely differently, right? And then over time, try it, do a few things, and you realize, and that was one of the things that also made me realize that I shouldn't look at the end goal, the end. Here's the arc that this character is going to go on, and it's going to be so awesome with all this stuff is going to happen and all that, and then things don't play out that way.
I do not understand that, honestly. Like I guess just because to me, like that's the game, is to find out like where it's gonna end, and I think one of the most mystifying things that ever happened to me as a DM was like a player within the first 5 sessions talking to me about like, well, here's something that I'm thinking I want my character to do like at the end of this campaign. And I'm like, why are you even having this conversation with me right now? Like, what are you talking about? We just started. You might not be alive at the end of this campaign. Like, what? It was so bizarre to me. And just, that campaign did not pan out and I wasn't surprised, but it was a bad fit.
Well, it sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not necessarily a bad fit, but talking to people and understanding, hey, you're just not at the same place that I am right now, right? We were talking earlier about players that have become better role players over time. Were very mechanic oriented when they first started playing the game. I've played in a number of campaigns, hell, even a number of one shots where afterwards people have been like, oh, the game was different than I thought it was. I've never played the game that way. I want to try doing more. How do you get into this? And you also get people, and I know, again, I'll reference that epilogue that is not up yet. It'll be up next week. I posted the Small Town Slaughter epilogue today, and because I noticed that it was missing and I didn't want to do 2 epilogues at once. But if you go back when it's out there, the After the Hook epilogue, Owen talks about from a writer's perspective, it's hard to let go of the story and the planning that you have put in there, because as a writer you control everything. As a player in a group storytelling game, you only control a little bit, and you have to react to stuff. And so changing, a lot of people, especially when they first start out, are like coming from the writer perspective. Oh, it would be so cool if this character did this and then this and then this and then this, and here's the whole narrative. Wouldn't that be cool? And over time they'll learn, you know, and that's that there's a lot of satisfaction for me in that. And I know other DMs that have had a similar sort of thing of people contacting them afterwards, you know.
I think if that's your impulse, maybe try being a DM, because while you certainly don't want to railroad and like force everyone to go down a certain route, I think a lot of DMing is like writing, is coming up with sort of complete storylines, but many of them, and having and of course you're going to have to tweak them on the fly depending on what people do, but having a number of sort of arcs in mind that could happen depending on how things develop or whatever. So if you really have a hard time letting go of that, maybe just try being a DM. Maybe you'll like it better.
Yeah, or tune in next Monday night for our next episode of Dauntless, where I'll be DMing and day drinking a lot and not writing shit.
Yes. Excellent.
I mean, wait, what? No, that's not happening. There's tons of preparation that goes into every single session.
Yeah, the planning will be there. The drinking will be at our usual time of 9 p.m.
Yeah, that's definitely when it's happening.
Our usual time, 9 p.m.
Don't be fooled by the blinding daylight that you will clearly see.
If you look over here, you will see blinding daylight coming through this shade, and this red cup. You'll see it as well.
I'm sure that cup will just have like iced coffee.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely iced coffee or like water.
I love that you had to think for a minute to come up with water.
It definitely won't have any rum and coke in it at all. I promise.
Don't worry, his toes were crossed.
No, I was lying.
But yes, the self-realization that eventually comes to, hey, I've been more of a story writer. I've been planning this stuff and thinking about this too much. When people realize that and come back around, I think it makes a
Yeah.
big difference in the end. And sometimes as a DM, it may behoove you to recognize that and try and help them with that discovery rather than just get out of here. You ain't for me, kid.
Yes, of course.
I
To be clear, that's not what happened in the situation I described.
Did not mean to say that.
Things didn't pan out overall for a number of reasons. I just wasn't that surprised when they didn't, because there were clearly some disconnects. You were saying?
Rook?
Oh, I was just responding to chat. So yeah, I think that one thing that to touch on that you all just said was, don't even if I create this character because I'm in this one shot and I want to do this thing and I want to try this thing, it may not happen. It may not come up in the one shot, right? Don't try to force that just because that was the expectation going in to the one shot, right? If your move is to get off this specific spell at this specific time to do this specific thing, it may or may not happen.
Yeah.
And you need to be prepared for that. But also, if your goal is to try that thing out, like, that's okay. Create a character for that one shot to do that thing. Just be willing to roll with the punches because it may not go the way you want it to go. And
For sure.
if your thing is to take expertise in investigation and investigation never comes up in the one shot, like, don't just try to be like, well, can I use investigation instead? Or can I do this? Or can I do this? Because then you're a piece of shit like myself. And you don't want to be that way, right?
But if you do want to be that way, please think about joining our Patreon, and I will send you your very own Rook's Red Cup, where you can be that guy with whatever hard lemonade rum concoction.
It's completely opaque, so no one will know what you have in the cup. That's the trick.
It's iced
Until
coffee
you tell them.
or water.
Here's the thing. Unless you have a passive insight of an ant, you will know what
it doesn't take a lot of doesn't take expertise to figure out what is in the cup. But yeah.
But yeah, the point being, I think overall is, feel free to play whatever character you want to play with. Don't listen to us, whatever. But be open to different ways of doing things, and don't. I think if you're the type of person that likes to tell stories, if you're the person that likes to improv, if you're the person who, like me, loves to listen to the sound of your own voice, try not to mechanically make the perfect character for the adventure to try and win the adventure quickly, because then you won't have as much time to talk to people.
The idea of winning at Dungeons and Dragons is so absurd to me.
Right?
So absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, you can survive, but I don't know if that's necessarily winning.
You see it with people all the time. People looking to come
Trying
in
to win Dungeons and Dragons is a thing that people do.
And I don't think it's even necessarily for the sake of winning Dungeons and Dragons. It's for the sake of trying to impress other people at the table and not knowing how to do it properly. And again, it's a learning experience. I talk to people all the time. Hey, do you know, that was great. This happened. You did this and you did that and the other thing. If you want to try and fit in better at a role play oriented table, try these couple of things. And they'll usually treat me like Rook, flip me off, tell me to fuck off, and go about their business. However, I have had contact with some people months, even years later, that were like, look, didn't hear it at the time, but now I get it. It's great. It really is.
Yes. If everyone at the table has enjoyed the experience, then you won Dungeons and Dragons. That's the only way that works.
Yeah, if you had if you enjoyed yourself, you won Dungeons and Dragons. Now,
if you have to tell Chuck he was right, you lost Dungeons and Dragons that day. You lost that battle. However,
that's true.
I have lost a battle or two in my time. Hats off to you, at Chuck Laz.
That's pronounced Chuckles, sir.
Yeah, I knew that.
From my comic days, you know. But the point is not necessarily that somebody was right, somebody was wrong. But if at the end of the time you had a good time, and I will tell you, at the end of the day, if you were sitting there rolling and winning Dungeons and Dragons, you probably only thought you were having a good time. You probably were not actually having a good time.
This is why I say if everyone at the table enjoyed the experience. If you did and everyone else was fucking miserable, I don't think you won.
But yeah, I don't ever see, in my experience, in my decades of experience at this,
many decades,
close
to a century at this point.
Hey, you know, I look pretty good for 120. That's skincare. It's important. Don't go the sunlight that they were talking about before. Don't go anywhere near that. That's bad for you.
No, that shit's toxic.
But watch people at the tables do these things that are designed to win Dungeons and Dragons, and other people not giving them the attention that they're seeking, and they're not having a good time. They're not doing those things they thought that would do
for
it.
Sure.
And that's just the way it works out. So
yeah.
If you're really having a good time, then you're probably doing something right.
That's true. That's fair enough.
Yeah. At any rate, as talking about doing something right, I think it's time that we did the right thing and let these fine folks who have joined us for a little bit get on with some actual interesting content somewhere on the internet. And we should say good night. Thank you for joining us. Please check out our, if you have not done so already, check out the House of Ill Repute, Episode 1, Identify Rook's Character.
That was aggressive. I don't appreciate that shit at all.
Sorry, you're not having a good time?
I am not.
No.
This is not a great... You did not win at D&D tonight, Chuck.
Damn it. I thought I was winning.
Nope. Sorry, man.
If you have already watched it, please go and watch the episode again. You can just put it on in your browser.
Keep watching it again and again.
Make sure that you have liked it. Leave a comment telling us how wonderful we are. If you didn't like it, you don't have to actually hit the like button, but you can leave a comment roasting us and telling us everything that we did that was horrible and that you hated.
That's what they call engagement.
Yes. We like engagement of all sorts, positive,
negative engagement.
The algorithm can't tell the difference.
You six are pieces of shit. No one should watch this show. All of these are comments we would love to see on our YouTube channel.
Feel free. Yeah.
You all should get thrown in the bucket.
Oh, no, not the bucket.
We can't mention the bucket anymore.
No, have we been banned? Is the bucket banned?
That's what Cloud said. The bucket is
well,
banned.
I mean, and if anybody would know what is banned, what is not banned.
Clouds is in charge.
But with that, really, thank you for joining us. We love doing these things. We love making content. We love hanging out with y'all. And remember, hit points are not required to.
I'm going to plug right now. Like, we did the Dauntless one-shot, y'all. They leveled up. They're moving forward. The kids are safe. The farm is saved. you all should tune in next Monday and see what happens.
Next Monday, Dauntless continues. This Wednesday, House of Ill Repute continues. Next Monday, Dauntless continues. So keep coming back here, please.
Mad amounts of bullshit.
All I have to say for y'all is that's a lot of information to drop on people at the end of a happy hour. People have been drinking around here.
Oh, have they?
Where? Who?
Who is anyone
Which
that
people?
watched the House of Ill Repute episode 1? Remember, they got to drink on the house.
Indeed. You all have a great night. Thank you so much for watching.
Everybody.
Good night.